Right. Welcome back to our second iteration for October 2024's editorial analysis. We had a video last week, right? And we had been able to discuss half of the important editorials for October, right? So the remaining half we can do it today. Okay. So once again, whatever PPT is there that is displayed on your screens, we'll share that with you. Okay, and the remaining things we can once again just cover it. So some of the important things we can cover, we've covered it half, right? Let me just go back to the thing from which we have to start. So last topic that we saw is organ transplantation, right? NOTP we saw. Now today we will start from yes, we already finished this organ donation. So now we will start from the article regarding India-Canada relations, right? So yeah, so whatever PPT that is displayed in front of your screen, that we'll share it with you. Okay, now coming straight into the article. So this is with respect to the Indian Express article which appeared on 19th October, right? It is with respect to the India-Canada relations. As you've been aware, there has been downgrade of relations between India and Canada. So there's been a problem that is going on, especially after the assassination of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, right? So you would have been aware of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. So he is a Khalistani operative, and somehow the person had been assassinated, and the Canadian government, it is saying that it is the Indian intelligence agencies who are behind the attack, okay, of his killing. Fine. And the thing is that they are saying that the intelligence has been shared with them through the Five Eyes network. You would have heard of the Five Eyes. Once again, such questions can be asked. So just look up Five Eyes network, who they are. So there are 5 English speaking countries who are part of the Five Eyes network: US, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and UK. Okay, so they share the signals intelligence as well as other types of surveillance intelligence and all between each other. So they are accusing India. So through Canada, the evidence has been given to Canada, and Canada is saying that Indian law enforcement agencies, intelligence agencies are behind the assassination. Okay, so in this context, we can just have a brief background of India-Canada relations. So if you see the annual trade, it's around $8 billion. And predominantly the trade revolves around agriculture, energy, education. So lot of students from India, especially from Punjab, Haryana regions, they go to Canada for higher studies, right? Lot of Indian diaspora is there, nearly 1.4 million. Okay, and agriculture, Canada is the biggest exporter of pulses, right? So though India is the largest importer of pulses, and Canada is the largest exporter. So that's one of the things in which the trade revolves around. So Canada also exports potash, agriculture products and all. Okay, and you are once again aware the key agricultural fertilizers: urea, DAP, right, diammonium phosphate, muriate of potash. Muriate of potash, you might be aware, 100% of muriate of potash is imported. So a lot of potash we import from Canada also. Okay, and India exports textiles, then our generic drugs, IT services, all these things. And for our civilian nuclear program, uranium is needed. So because we have the 123 agreement NSG waiver that has been given, because of that, Canada also supplies uranium for our nuclear energy partnership. Fine. And recent challenges has been the growing Khalistani sentiment amongst a lot of diaspora members who are there in Canada. And these members, it's alleged that they are part of various gangs, and they are also doing lots of drug running and weapons running, arms deals, all these things. And indirectly, as a cover, they are also funding gurudwaras, and also it becomes like a very interwoven thing. It becomes a sensitive thing. They are hiding behind religion, and they are doing a lot of activities. They are sabotaging India's interest. They are trying to establish Khalistan. Right. So once again, there is information from our intelligence agencies that it is the ISI who is encouraging such activities. Okay. Now, because of Nijjar's assassination, once again diplomatic rows have happened, and already India and Canada, we were discussing for a creation of a agreement called as SEPA, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. It is to improve the trade and all. But because of this row, this Nijar assassination, and following that the diplomatic row that has happened, we have stopped the dialogue on the SEPA as well. Okay, so SEPA is on hold, and the Khalistani separatist movement, that is once again a challenge. And other Indians, for example Hindus who are there in Canada, their temples are getting desecrated, Indians are being threatened with violence, so that is also one problem. And Canada also expresses undue concern regarding the treatment of minorities in India, regarding the old bogey of Kashmir, how it is being treated. So in fact, if you see, these sort of international agencies, these sort of international countries, they always have a bogey to attack India with, right? And one of the things is treatment of minorities. So we must very clearly understand that in a country that is as vast as India, there might be one or two stray incidents. But if you see, upon independence, right, what is the percentage of minorities on independence? What was their population in 1947? Take the census and compare it today. There's a multifold increase, right? If multifold increase, a thriving population of minorities will not happen if they are not protected. Stray incidents of 1 or 2 murders or attacks, that will be there everywhere. And considering a country as big as India, 1.4 billion people, so that things happen. So anytime people are going to corner, Western countries corner us on human rights issues, minority treatment, all these things, it's just a bogey to attack India with. Thing is that we take the hard data, right? Population numbers, that gives an entirely different story. What is the percentage of minorities? It has increased, right? So those are some of the challenges. And with respect to the advantages, you might have heard, right? The foreign portfolio investment from Canada, it's nearly 1.7 lakh crores. So a lot of FPI comes to India via Canada, right? A lot of equity exposure is there, right? Nearly 1.51 of the 1.77 lakh crore, 1.51 lakh crore is equity exposure. Debt exposure nearly 21,000 crore from Canada. So Canadian investors are putting money in the Indian markets, right? Lot of their pension funds and all, they invested in the Indian markets, right? And these are some of the things. Now, before going to the India-US relations, there are some other things also I want to discuss, right? With respect to the foreign tourists, fourth largest number of foreign tourists in India, they're all Canadians, right? And every seventh Indian student abroad is in Canada, right? Every seventh Indian student who goes abroad, they are in Canada, right? A lot of Indian population is there. We've already discussed that, nearly 4% of Canadian population, right? And the bilateral trade, it's around $8 billion. It's in our favor. So we are actually making profit out of the trade with Canada. So SEPA is in our advantage. So as the talks have now been stagnant, it's been called off as of now, put on hold. So that's once again a disadvantage for us. So these are the things with respect to India-Canada relations. And we'll also look at India-US relations as well. So India-US relations, the importance of it. Annual trade is huge, right? Nearly 191 billion US dollars as of 2022, right? And Indian exports, you're already aware, huge number of students go to US for studies, huge number of IT employees, right? Highly skilled. So STEM, you would have heard, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So a lot of STEM researchers, a lot of workers working in the STEM sector, STEM field, they all go to the US for employment, right? You would have heard H1B visa, huge chunk of H1B visas which give work permit in the US to foreigners, huge chunk of it goes to Indians, right? Green cards, once again, which gives permanent residency to foreigners in US. Now, once again, huge chunk of that goes to Indians, right? Indians are one of the most educated, highest tax paying, most law abiding groups in US, one of the most successful groups, right? India exports a huge amount of generic drugs, once again, pharmacies, right? You might be aware, India is the pharmacy of the world. 50% of all vaccines in the world, they are produced in India, right? Huge amount of textile exports, especially from places like Punjab, then Tirupur in Tamil Nadu, right? In Ahmedabad regions, in Maharashtra regions. So a lot of textiles we export, right? And from US, a lot of imports we do, defense equipments. So you would have heard lot of defense equipments, howitzers, right? Predator drones. So many different types of this Chinook heavy lift aircraft. Then so many other defense equipments we are importing from the US, right? Aircrafts, technology, right? All these things we are importing. And we have a strategic partnership with the US across various sectors: defense, counter terrorism. So you would have heard of Quad, right? So Quad is there. We cooperate in that. We cooperate with various other exercises, right, with the US. Cyber security, climate change. So we cooperate with the US on all these avenues. And why India suddenly is becoming important to US is it's a good balance to China. US is trying to contain China, right? China has grown very big. You might have heard US has put 100% tariff on high technology exports of China, right? 100% tariff, for example, on EVs and all. 100% tariff is put. You would have heard it's there in the news. China shock 2.0, because Chinese domestic market has gone down. They're exporting a lot of things, and these things are going to the other countries. It's affecting the local manufacturers there. So counter this. India is becoming important to the US, and also with US winding up operations in Afghanistan, no longer US is bound to help Pakistan. So that's also another thing. And in the same thing, the defense agreements we have signed, it's a symbol, or it's a sign of increasing collaboration, right? COMCASA, LEMOA is the logistics agreement, BECA, basic exchange cooperation agreement, COMCASA for communications, right? Then industrial security annex. So many agreements, military agreements we have with the US. Okay, and these are all the advantages, right? We cooperate on various forums. Even the US has accepted our demand of a permanent Security Council membership, right? And some challenges are also there. This also you would have seen lot of times in the news. For example, our exports of shrimp and all these products, because of high amount of bacterial antibiotic content, right? Antibacterials. Because of that, they refuse to allow it to be imported into the US. So that type of market access, food safety issues, quality issues, those things happen. And then once again, with respect to the tariffs, right, on Indian products also, especially President Trump, he feels that US is getting ripped off, right? The balance of trade, he feels that it is too much skewed in India's favor. So we want to address that also, like that he is saying, right? So tariffs they are putting, and even with respect to Indian exports, the US has complained against us in the WTO, and we have also been removed from the GSP, generalized system of preferences, right, which they give access to the developing countries. They're saying that India is abusing the tariffs. They're exporting a lot more, they're not importing all these things. Because of that, some disputes are there, even with respect to our food subsidies. For example, how we are implementing the National Food Security Act, NFSA. For that, we are spending huge amount of money. They're saying that no, this is altering the prices in the international markets. These people are exporting the buffer stock, so our exports are getting affected. All these things are happening. And you might have heard in the news, we are also doing deals with the Russians, right? Triumph S-400 missile systems we have bought, and much more we are going to buy. Some of the systems S-400 are yet to be delivered. So we are afraid that CATSA, you might have heard, containing America's advisories through sanctions, right? So you would have heard of that act. So we have got a CATSA waiver, but fresh imports, once again, risk is there, especially after this Russia-Ukraine war. And H1B, once again, restrictions are there. They want to reduce the number of immigrants. Same with Canada also. You would have heard there is this two types of visas for Canada. One is to fast track the thing. You have an education visa, and predominantly Indians used to use that. Now they have curtailed that visa, saying that too much immigration is happening. Our housing prices are increasing, inflation is happening, our citizens are getting affected, so they are controlling it. So even US as well as Canada, both of them, they want to restrict the Indians, and restrict the immigrants. And because Indians are majority of the immigrant sections in these countries, so it affects us also, right? So advantages, disadvantages, you can just go through it. Advantages, we get access to technology, joint ventures, all these things. Defense supplies, Apache helicopter, C-130 aircraft, Chinook helicopters, Poseidon patrol aircraft, right? We are importing LNG, right? What's that called? Tellurium, I guess. So we are importing it from the Tellurium, that's a company, right? So all these things we are importing. Disadvantages, our relations, we need to balance it with Russia and Iran. So that is one thing. right? So economic dependence on US markets for IT and pharmaceuticals. So once again, if the US market is going to regulate it, then it might be difficult for our employees, right? So just go through these things. A lot of times you will get a lot of points from different articles. It will be there always in the newspapers. Just make notes of it, you will be fine. So differences with Canada Khalistan issue, US Russia issue, Western criticism on human rights, Quad, Five Eyes Alliance, Global Climate Forum. So all these things you are aware, right? Trilateral trade, India, US, we've seen Canadian investments, we've seen diaspora remittances, right? So we get 87 billion, which the diaspora sends back home. So you would have heard our foreign exchange, right? So it's around more than $500 billion. So huge amount, 87 billion comes from remittances, right? So economically, it's very important. So just go through it. Next thing, it is with respect to this article, Berlin-Delhi reconnection. So it is a German Chancellor's visit, right? So once again, Germany-India relations, it's once again very important. So we'll see a background of that. So all this will help you in your GS2 bilateral relations topic. So India, Germany, after Second World War in 1951, we had established the relations, right? And we are India and Germany, they have very good trading relations. Germany is a major trading partner in Europe. It's a strategic partner globally as well. So regular bilateral meetings, high level visits and all happen. So bilateral trade around 24 million annually. And German companies, they have a lot of investors in India. For example, FDI, that is the thing. A lot of other countries, they predominantly they come as institutional investors. What is the reason why they are doing that? Their own share market, their own rates are very low. Rather than putting it as an FD in the Canadian bank, the Canadian investor wants to put it in our share market so that they can get more return. That is the reason why various countries, they invest in India, but they invest it as FPI. On the first hint of trouble, they'll run away. But a country like Germany and Japan, they don't concentrate on Indian share markets. They are here to concentrate on FDI, right? So they are setting up the actual companies here, right? So many German companies are there, Volkswagen, BMW, Audi, right? Even you take Skoda's parent company, even that's a German company only, right? So all these car manufacturers, Benz, all these car manufacturers, they have set up their factories here. Billions of dollars of investment they have done, joint ventures they have created. This is actually very good for the Indian economy, right? It improves the GDP, it improves technology transfer, it improves jobs, right? All these things the German companies are doing. And not only the big companies, even the SMEs, right? Small, micro, medium enterprises, even those enterprises, so many companies, German companies are setting up their industry in India for supplying the parts, right? Ancillary industries. So Germany is a huge supporter of Make in India initiative. So India-Germany relations, though it does not get the the fanfare and the publicity that American relations with India or Russian relations with India have, but it's actually very important to us. Okay. And if you see strategic and defense cooperation, so we are cooperating in cyber security, counter-terrorism, maritime cooperation, shared concerns about Indo-Pacific regional security, especially with the ascendant and assertive China, right? Freedom of navigation in the Indo-Pacific. As an ally of the US, so even Germany supports the Free Open Indo-Pacific Initiative, right? FOIP. And technology transfers. So German technology, it's coming to India. So the latest technologies we get, our latest best practices, they all comes from Germany or Japan. So in that way also it helps cooperation in cyber security, AI, all these things, right? Over 600 partnerships between Indian and German institutions, right? So a lot of students from India, they get scholarships in Germany, they go for masters. So that's one thing you have to have in mind. Germany and India are also collaborating in renewable energy, sustainable urban development, climate change, right? Germany is a top destination for Indian students. Indo-German Science Technology Center we have created. It fosters collaboration. In Germany is helping us in green transition, right? So you would have heard green transition, right? Shifting of the economy from fossil fuel based economy to an economy based on renewable energy. So Germany is helping in that. Green energy corridor, you would have heard green energy corridor. Green energy corridor is an initiative in which we are creating the power transmission infrastructure like load dispatch centers, transformers, cables, right? step up transformers, step down transformers. So we are creating this grid across select states so that more of the renewable energy we can integrate into the grid. And who is funding these projects? Lot of money is needed for creating new electric power transmission infrastructure. For that, the money, huge amounts, is coming from Germany. You would have heard the German bank KfW, right? KfW, you would have heard. Oh, sorry, just 1 second. So this KfW, it's a German development bank. It is funding a lot of projects. In fact, a lot of other sustainable development projects like stormwater drains, even afforestation initiatives, even construction of green highways. In that also KfW is investing. Okay, it's investing in various states of India. Okay, so the Green Energy Corridor program of the Ministry of Power, it is to increase the infrastructure, power transmission infrastructure. For that, money is coming from Germany, right? Cultural ties, exchanges in art, music. Max Muller Bhavan, you would have heard. So it's also there. It's promoting the German culture, language in India. We have a lot of intergovernmental consultations at all levels on sustainable development, infrastructure, digitalization. Germany supports India's candidature for a permanent seat on UNSC. You would have heard group of 4, right? India, Germany, Brazil, Japan. We all support each other's candidature for reform of the Security Council. So it's the group of 4, right? So Germany is also supporting that. So what are the challenges? Trade imbalance is there, right? We are making less money. It's actually favorable for Germany. India is seeking more effective technology transfer. Indian businesses face access challenges in German market. Bureaucratic hurdles are there in India, which the German companies face. Differing perspectives on certain geopolitical issues, maybe over human rights. Once again, those issues are there. So way forward, trade agreement, bilateral investment promotion, joint ventures. So all these things, right? So these are all the things with respect to India-Germany relations. Once again, a lot of content will be there in your newspapers. Just be aware of them, right? You can just make notes. You can use a lot of apps, right? You might have heard of Lotus OneNote or Evernote. There are other things also. Free softwares are there. You can download it. Make a heading like GS1, 2, 3. Under that, choose the different topics. Okay, it's a bilateral topic. Okay, this is once again, if it's GS2, this is polity topic, it's governance topic, this is bilateral topic. Like that, make a split. Under that, India-Germany relations, add the points as and when it comes. So you'll be having very good notes over a period of 1 year, right? More than sufficient to clear your means. So the next thing, with respect to nature restoration law, this is very, 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 very important. So you might have been aware 30% of India's geographical area is having land degradation. It's a huge amount, right? 30% of India's land is having land degradation. So you understand that. Okay. So what is, if you take it in terms of millions of hectares, right? If you take in terms of millions of hectares, nearly 98 million hectares of India is degraded, right? 98 million hectares. So which means it's devoid of topsoil, fertility has fallen, you're having gully erosion, rill erosion, it's getting converted to badland topography, all these problems. It's affecting 30% of our area, nearly 100 million hectares or 98 million to be specific, right? You know the size of India, 3.28 million square kilometers. Imagine 30% of that is undergoing degradation, right? It's very important to reverse this. And we can take the cue from Europe, because EU has passed this nature restoration law. Okay, this EU nature restoration law has been passed. Why? Because EU also, they are facing the problem with respect to the land degradation. Okay, so what they are saying, 20% of EU land and sea will be restored by 2030, with the goal of having all ecosystems in need of restoration fully restored by 2050. So 20% restoration by 2030, both land and sea, with all ecosystems restored by 2050. So it's part of this EU's biodiversity strategy, right? You would have heard of the European Green Deal, right? Under which even carbon taxation and all they are putting. So it's one of these things, and they want to restore the biodiversity there. Okay, they want to even plant the afforestation. They want to do afforestation as well, right? They're going to plant 3 billion additional trees by 2030. So it's a very, very good thing. And in this case, you have to even appreciate China. You must have heard of this China's Great Wall project, that is Great Green Wall, right? So it is they are planting trillions of trees, not billions, trillions of trees to reverse the desertification, onward march of the Gobi Desert. It has been stopped, right? Gobi Desert is now reversing, it's becoming green, right? Desertification has been reserved. So that's something that China is doing. So we need to emulate these things, the good things, and we need to implement it. And it's a pressing thing for India because we have seen 30% of our land is undergoing degradation. So it's very important that we do it. And you would have heard of the various schemes: Green India Mission, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana for integrated watershed management and irrigation projects. All these things are there. So we need to ensure that through these schemes, we need to restore our degraded landscape, right? And you would have seen, how polluted Delhi is right now. Same thing happening in the Bangalore also, in these places in the winter seasons. So it's very essential that we are going to create afforestation. You might have heard Miyawaki afforestation in the cities. So such things have to be promoted, right? Much more afforestation needs to be done. We need to ensure that net zero target through afforestation, we need to lot of it, right? You might have heard National Bamboo Mission, in which degraded lands they are using the bamboo cultivation, right? So bamboo actually it can have the ability to grow in the degraded land, and it is reversing the topsoil loss. So all these things we have to promote, right? So it's a very important article. Just go through it, make some notes. The important things we're discussing here: what is nature restoration, right? Biodiversity restoration, climate change mitigation, all these things are there. So restoration targets: 20% of land restoration by 2030, ecosystem specific goals, annual progress reports, promoting ecotourism, local partnership, indigenous knowledge, and also helping the private to participate through PPP, financial incentives, green bonds. So you would have heard India has also issued sovereign green bonds itself. So the government is issuing the green bonds. Whatever money that the government is raising through green bonds, it will be used only for the green activities, like for example creation of renewable power sources like solar panels, creating a solar power plant, like these things, right? So green bonds, all these things are there. Strict penalty for non-compliance. We need to strengthen the NGT, National Green Tribunal. So you would have seen, right? 1/3 of the Great Nicobar is getting diverted. It's a pristine forest getting diverted for other activities. So all these are actually problems. So we need to address it. Okay. So forest restoration, wetland restoration, ecosystem restoration, urban greenscape creation, all these things needs to be done, right? So why India needs a nature restoration law? 30% of land is degraded. India, it's a biodiversity hotspot as well. So 7-8% of global species, all these things are there. Creation of carbon sinks helps us in meeting the NDCs, right? Nationally determined contributions. So already we have given the thing, right? 2 to 3 billion tons of CO2 we are going to sequester. That was given in the NDC. Now, apart from this 2 to 3 billion tons through afforestation, we are also wanting to sequester an additional 1 billion ton, right? That was given in the enhanced NDC. So nearly 4 billion tons we have to sequester. So for that, afforestation needs to be done, right? Sustainable development should be promoted. Water purification, soil fertility, all these are reasons why we need to protect the ecosystem, right? So we can do that and ensure jobs under Narega. And also you would have heard, imagine wasteland is there, you can make them plant the fruit trees. So it will not only sequester the oxygen, the fruit that is produced, you can give it as part of the midday meal scheme in the local village itself. So it creates employment, it creates health, both these things. It creates the health for the environment also. So we can do like that. Okay. So people to people. So let's go to the next topic. Stubble burning. So with respect to stubble burning, if you see stubble burning, we've already discussed a part of it, right? A lot of farmers in Punjab, Haryana, they are burning the whatever stubbles that are left after the harvest. So to prepare the land prior to the winter cultivation, Rabi cultivation, they want to set fire to the straw instead of just harvesting it. And we are doing so much to make them reduce this thing. So it has had an effect. Less farmers are actually doing it now, but still there are people doing it. That's first thing. And farmers in other areas, like for example Pakistan, so they are also doing the stubble burning, and definitely the air does not respect the natural boundaries and all. So it comes into the country, right? So that is the thing. Now you would have heard, right? It's October news, but anyway, November last week you would have seen air quality index in Delhi is 450, 500. Right? That's a worst quality, right? It's like a health hazard, right? The main, and you would have heard CAQM, Committee on Air Quality Management. So their job is to ensure that AQI remains low, and if it is increasing, they have created this framework GRAP, Graded Response Action Plan, level 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it has crossed level 4, right? So here only the Miyawaki forestation and all in Delhi surrounding areas, it's very, very important. Surrounding the NCR, wherever possible, you need to create the plantations. Only then it will help. Okay, and with respect to the stubble burning, so what is the code saying? Article 22, right to life, right to clean environment, clean air, it's getting violated, right? And under EPA, fines are there for the air polluters and all. So that's the thing, right? NCR, why is it facing worst air quality? One thing, stubble burning. And to conquer stubble burning, only so many schemes are there. Govardhan Yojana, then PMG1, right? Jaiv Indhan, Fasal Avsesh Vatavaran. So that scheme is there, right? So PMG1 scheme. So all these things we are there so that farmers can sell the stubble to the oil marketing companies, convert it into bioethanol. So it will, instead of setting it on fire, they'll get the money. And even harvesters and all, we are giving it on lease, so that through the harvesting they will get the stubble, sell it to the manufacturers for bioethanol. And also PMG1 is there, Govardhan scheme is there, and even the bio bricks, which use the stubble and convert it into the bricks which can be used for construction. Such technologies also have been promoted. So though stubble burning has reduced, still there is enough stubble burning, and it's one of the reasons causing air pollution. Another thing is lack of afforestation, definitely, right? Those areas are heavily industrialized and afforestation is a problem, right? So you need to do afforestation. Third thing, right, a lot of say diesel vehicles are there, even petrol, it's still polluting only, so you need to avoid that. And another big problem, lot of thermal power plants are there in and around Delhi, so the sooner you're going to shift it to other types of power, it will help, right? So the thing is that why Delhi gets affected, it's because in winter times high pressure happens, temperature inversion happens, there's no wind movement, all the it creates like a pollution dome. The air will be stagnant and it's full of pollution. So it needs coordination from Haryana, it needs coordination from Rajasthan, Punjab, uh, as well as Uttar Pradesh. Only then the problem can be solved, right? So all these things we would have seen, right? Delhi is probably the worst polluted capital. Already WHO records are saying that. And air pollution, it is especially in Delhi, it is taking at least 5 years average life it is reducing. And the diplomats and all, you would have seen, they are running away to other places where it's safe to survive, right? And only after January, February, they are planning to come back. So it's that worse, right? So be aware of it. What is this CAQM? What is this GRAP? Be aware of it. And stage 1, 2, 3, 4, there are some activities that they do. If the air quality index is between 200 to 300, between 300 to 400, more than 400, like that, specific activities are there. Just see what is GRAP, right? Causes of pollution, all these things we've discussed. Stubble burning, worst burning, seasonal factors, geographic disadvantage, all these things are there, right? Health impacts, increase respiratory diseases, strokes, all these things you would have seen, right? So environmental impact, social inequity, right? People who are poor, they can't access the healthcare. If I am rich and I fall sick, I can go to the doctor. With poor, it's not even possible, so it disproportionately affects them, right? So odd even scheme, GRAP, firecracker ban, anti-smog guns, water sprinkling, all these things you see, it's not actually mitigation. None of this is mitigation. Mitigation is what? Mitigation is addressing the root cause. Why air pollution happening? It's because of thermal power plants. So convert the thermal power plants. Why it's happening? Because of stubble burning. Ensure there is no stubble burning. Why it's happening? It's because of lack of trees. Do afforestation. So these are all mitigations, right? So this needs to be done. Okay, and sooner the the fossil fuel vehicles, right, diesel, petrol, it's sooner it's converted to EVs, the better it is, right? So NCAP, you would have heard, National Clean Air Program. So around 131 cities in the country, they are implementing this NCAP, right, to reduce the particulate matter pollution and all. So read it. You might have also heard of NAAQ, National Ambient Air Quality Standards. So that also please read it. So way forward, stricter enforcement, CAQM's active role, promoting sustainable practices, technological innovations, behavioral change, public awareness, all these are important. So just go through it. The next thing with respect to the child sexual abuse. So now remember, the Supreme Court has now named child pornography. That terminology will not be used. It will be called as CSEAM. CSEAM means child sexual exploitative and abusive material. So it's an acronym, CSEAM. Okay, and regarding this, lot of data has been given. It's important. So in India, the instances of CSEAM, child sexual abuse, it has increased from 44 cases in 2018 to 1171 cases in 2022. So it's according to the NCRB, National Crime Record Bureau data. So just go through it. That's very important. Okay. So how are we to deal with CSEAM? Now the court has said that even viewing child pornography is actually an offense. That's the first thing. Previously, this was not very clear. Okay. Now it has been explicitly stated that even viewing it is a crime. Okay. And what is there for child protection in India? POCSO Act is there, right, to punish the perpetrators of child sexual abuse. And under the POCSO Act, stringent laws are also given. IT Act is there, right? IT Act is there. It addresses when the child is getting abused, they make a video of it, put it in the internet. Then IT Act comes into the thing. It's a crime to download it, crime to share it, crime to view it. So IT Act is there. POCSO Act is there. Okay, and then Juvenile Justice Act. So Juvenile Justice Act, it mandates that every district must have a child welfare center. Every district must have a district child protection officer, right? Every district must have a special juvenile protection unit, and also you might have heard Mission Vatsalya, under which the children homes have to be given. They have to be counseled, right? Victims of such child sexual abuse, Mission Vatsalya is there to help them. Juvenile Justice Act is there, right, under which they'll be rehabilitated. All this is happening, right? And understand the relevant provisions of the constitutions. Article 15 for protecting children, Article 21 protection of right to life, Article 39 prohibition of exploitation and abuse. All these are the constitutional provisions. So laws are there, constitutional provisions are there, but still such cases have increased. What is the reason? It's first thing is lack of what to say, thing is that there needs to be more awareness telling that such activities are wrong, right? We are making it clear, still some people, they are indulging in it. One reason can be that it's lack of strict punishment, right? If a person has been made an example, right, so you see we cannot shy away from these things. Okay, there are certain red lines which if you cross, you have to be made an example in the public. Okay, so giving them strict punishment, like it should not be a long winding harrowing trial, right? Sooner the verdict is given, sooner the justice is given to the victim, the better it will be, right? So stringent implementation of the laws, stringent trials, it should happen very quickly. You might have heard the child courts, special child courts and all are being created, okay, for these things. The apart from that, in some states only this special courts and all are being created. In other places it's a responsibility of the state government to fund it, and they are not having the money, so they are not doing it. So what happens, it goes through the normal courts. In normal courts already crores of cases are pending, so that's a problem, right? And even the police, right, they need to be trained to handle such cases, especially with respect to how they respond or how they interact with the victim. So there needs to be proper training, right? And even some of the issues stem from cultural attitudes, right? So this also usually takes the blame. So you can mention that also, cultural attitudes. Sometimes they blame the victim, right? And then inadequate rehabilitation facilities. So we discussed about Mission Vatsalya, right? So there needs to be ensured that enough money is being allocated for these things. People who are victims in such cases, they need to be rehabilitated. So it's a long process, right? It takes 5 years, 10 years time, because these are all psychological wounds. Physical wound might heal, but psychological wounds, it's a very painful process, right? So rehabilitation is very important. So what is the way forward? We can create awareness campaigns, proper training for the police, and ensuring that the cases are handled very quickly, speedy trials, better support for the victims, mandatory reporting, ensuring that whenever any person comes across such suspected cases, you need to inquire into it. You must not just brush it inside the carpet, under the carpet. So mandatory reporting, all these things. So just be aware, hereafter child pornography will be referred to as CC, right? So the next thing, it is with respect to the industrial alcohol. So previously there was some confusion whether the state government has the ability to tax industrial alcohol. Okay, so that was the thing, right? So in 1990, Supreme Court bench having 7 judges stated that state cannot tax the industrial alcohol. Okay, and then this ruling was challenged, telling that no, state has the ability to tax. It's according to the constitution only. Why this confusion came? The confusion is because in the constitution multiple synonyms are used for alcohol. One is intoxicating liquor. Okay, another is called as industrial alcohol. Okay, so entry 8 of the state list, it gives powers the state to regulate the production, manufacture, possession, transport and sale of intoxicating liquors. And earlier they said that industrial alcohol does not come under the definition of intoxicating liquors, but now they have said that no, industrial alcohol also comes under the intoxicating liquor only, so the state government can tax it. So whoever is manufacturing the industrial alcohol in the state, now the state government will have the power to tax it. Okay, so it will be a huge boost to the states, especially which one is not having the enough money. If any industrial alcohol company is there, now the state government can tax it. Okay, so that is the thing. So just be aware, what is it? Federalism, separation of powers, schedule 7 of the constitution, central list, state list, concurrent list. So basics, just be aware. Key state powers, intoxicating liquors, betting, gambling, right? Police, public order. So we are having quasi federal structure in India. Just be aware of these things. So states revenue generation, taxation power, state lists taxes, property, sales, VAT. So now these things can be put on the intoxicating liquors. Previously these things cannot be put on the products that are coming under GST. So now on this intoxicating liquors in the industrial alcohol, you can add the extra state taxes also, just like how they do for petrol and all. That's the thing. Okay, so fiscal responsibility, development initiatives, all these things are there. It will have enough money. Of course, I think for Tamil Nadu not a problem, because government is making lot of money because it's the sole seller of liquor, right? So it's a win-win for Tamil Nadu anyway, but other states, they can get benefit from this. Loss of revenue autonomy, delayed compensation, opportunities of non-GST revenue has reduced, dependence on central compensation. So these are all some of the impacts that the GST has on the states. So you might have aware, right? GST is a destination based tax, right? So because of that, even if it's an industrialized state, say take the example of Gujarat, right? Gujarat, a lot of say chemical industries are there, fertilizer industries are there. So if Gujarat is manufacturing say 1 ton of urea, and somebody farmer in the UP is buying this 1 ton, so GST, even if it is like say 18%, 9% will go to the central government and 9% will go to the government of UP only, because the UP farmer only bought it. So it's a destination based tax. So as a result, despite being an industrialized state and they are producing this much tons of urea, Gujarat does not get any money, right? Previously they had the power, before the GST, per ton of urea manufacture the state could put extra tax. Now that has been removed under GST, it has been absolved, right? So because of that, that is the problem. Same thing, they all the industrialized states, they are having this problem, whether it's Karnataka or Maharashtra or Tamil Nadu, right? So you are having say in Tamil Nadu a lot of car manufacturing is there. Say imagine Hyundai, right? Hyundai Santro gets manufactured in Tamil Nadu but gets sold in say Madhya Pradesh, right? If the tax on it, GST is 18%, 9% goes to government of India, 9% goes to Madhya Pradesh government, because that's where the good has been bought. So that's the thing. So it has reduced the state's revenue. So that's one of the issues. Enhancing revenue autonomy, expanding taxation avenues, improving GST framework, cooperative federalism, diversifying revenue sources, capacity building, all these are some of the way forward. So just go through it. Next thing, right? Very important topic. It is with respect to carbon trade. Okay, carbon trade, very important. So before going, I'll just have some sip of water. So carbon trade, it has been a lot of times in the news, especially with the COP29 under UNFCCC happening in Baku, Azerbaijan, right? So under the COP29 also they are talking a lot about carbon trade. So it's very important that we know what are the different frameworks available with respect to carbon in India. Now be very careful, maybe you can make a note of this also. First thing that we are having is what is called as renewable energy certificates, REC. Okay, first thing that we are having is called as renewable energy certificates, REC. Now what is this REC? It is a market based instrument to promote renewable energy sources. So how does it happen? So what they have said is, the government, that is the Ministry of Power, what it has said is one renewable energy certificate is equal to 1 megawatt hour of electricity. Okay, so one renewable energy certificate is equivalent to 1 megawatt hour of electricity produced from eligible renewable energy sources, like for example solar or wind. Okay, so of course not only solar and wind, other things also like biomass or something, but I'm just saying give as an example. So what it is under renewable energy certificate, what they have done is, the particular power distribution companies, they are mandated to buy certain amount of power from the renewable energy power plants. If they are not able to buy that, what they do is they can buy the equivalent in the renewable energy certificate. So what happens if I am a solar plant owner, I am selling the power, I get paid at that time. Next, because I have manufactured renewable energy power, per megawatt hour of power I get something called as renewable energy certificate also. Now whichever DISCOM is not able to purchase the sufficient quantity of the renewable power as mandated by the law, they will now be forced to buy the renewable energy certificate from me, saying that okay, we have bought this certificate, that we can show us that okay, it's accepted, that okay, they have bought from renewable energy. So the person having the renewable energy power plant gets paid at 2 times. They can sell the power also, they get paid. They sell the certificate also, they get paid. And the power distribution companies, if they are not able to purchase the thing directly, they buy the compliance through the certificate. Now the power plant, what they are expected to do with the certificate, I am a solar power plant owner, okay, I have got the certificate money, now I will install more solar power plants. I am incentivizing that person to sell more renewable power, so that I get the chance to make more money also. I am producing 1 megawatt of power, I can sell it 2 times. For the certificate also I can get money, for selling the actual power also I get money. This is only called as renewable energy certificate. Okay, this is one of the green trading instrument in India. Please remember it, it comes under Ministry of Power. Who has to buy it means it's the power distribution companies, they have to buy a particular quota of this every year. The second thing is what is called as perform, achieve and trade, PAT. This PAT is actually a flagship campaign. It comes under which scheme means it's called as the National Mission for Enhanced Efficiency, Energy Efficiency, NMEE. So you might have heard the National Mission for Enhanced Energy Efficiency. Under that you are having the PAT, perform, achieve and trade. Okay, under this what they are doing is, they have identified the 13 energy intensive sectors, for example steel manufacturing. These steel manufacturing companies, aluminium manufacturing companies, these people what they should do is, they have to keep the latest technology. Okay, keeping the latest technology, installing the latest technology, they will have to reduce their power consumption. Okay, for example I am processing 1 ton of the iron ore. For that, imagine I used the 100 units of electricity. Now they have been given the specific target. Okay, previously only 100 units you used. Now it has to come down. It has to come down to 90 units, like the target they have kept. Now for example, if I am able to do it in 90 units, I have installed the energy efficient mechanisms like this. For example, I have bought the new electric furnace which is working with less power. Okay, and now I am able to save the 10 units. Now this saved 10 units I can convert to what is called as energy saving certificate. This energy saving certificate I can sell to the other company, to the other iron ore manufacturer or aluminium ore manufacturer or any company in those 13 sectors. They are not able to comply means they have to comply by buying the energy saving certificate. Now whichever company is able to do more than their target, they can sell the energy certificate, so they will get the money. This incentivizes the person to do more of energy conservation. Whereas person who is not able to meet the energy saving, he is forced to spend the money, he is getting disincentivized. So if I am a company which is involved in iron ore processing, I don't bother about this rule, means I have to pay more money because I have to buy the energy certificate, saving certificate. That is only called as perform achieve trade. Okay, so remember very clearly, we have seen the perform achieve trade, we have seen the renewable energy certificate. REC is bought by the discoms. Here PAT is bought by the 13 intensive power consuming sector companies. So this is the second thing. Okay, now what is the third thing that is there with respect to the carbon instrument is called as green credit program. Okay, this green credit program, actually what it is doing is, it is encouraging the people, whether it is the NGO, whether it is a trust, whether it is an individual, whether it is a company, it could be any entity, whoever is creating certain specific activities, for example tree plantation or water management or sustainable agriculture or waste management or air pollution reduction or mangrove conservation. Imagine I am an individual, now I, out of my own money, I have created 1 hectare of afforestation. Okay, I can apply for the green credit program. I created the 1 hectare of afforestation, I can apply for green credit program. There are agencies, actually there is something called as ICFRE. Okay, you might have heard of ICFRE. This ICFRE is Indian Council of Forestry Research and Education. It's a government of India university. Okay, now they have the affiliated people under them. They will come and verify my 1 hectare of forest, telling that okay, this much amount of carbon you have conserved. Okay, this much amount of carbon you have helped to sequester. And in response or in recognition of this effort, here have one green credit certificate of this much monetary value. Now tomorrow, any company under law, they are mandated to buy the quota of, see, that's what I told you, various companies are having the law in which their government is saying that okay, you must emit only 1 ton of CO2 annually. So that means that in its operation it has to limit it to 1 ton only. If I am emitting 2 ton, now for this extra 1 ton I have to do the compliance by buying the green credit. Where I can buy the green credit, for example me, I have done the plantation from this person, the company will get the green credit. So 1 ton credit I can sell to that person. Now that person giving me money, with that money I will create the new plantation. I am getting incentivized to create new such plantation. So it's creating the money for me. I am getting pat on the back for doing the right thing. This thing can work in other ways also. Take the example of farmers. Farmer having the empty land, lot of land is there. Maybe under the Kusum scheme you would have heard, Kisan Urja Suraksha Evam Uttam Maha Abhiyan. I am putting the solar panel. Now 1 megawatt hour of solar electricity I have created. I can sell it to some company, I can get the money. Okay, I can use under the green credit scheme, I can sell it and get the money. Or I can also sell it under the REC, renewable energy certificate. Sell it to some discom and get the money. So either of these two ways I can use. So they are creating various ways in which I can sell it. Now the farmer also gets additional source of income. See, for stubble burning, additional source of income. If you don't do stubble burning, you can sell it to the oil marketing company, make bioethanol, get the money. Under this, sell the solar panel, get the money, sell the certificate, get the money. Farmers are being given lot of opportunities. So these are all things. So renewable energy certificate, PAT, okay, and then green carbon credit, okay, green carbon credit or green credit program. These three we have seen. So please be remember these three are avenues are there. And the fourth avenue is called as CCTS. Okay, the fourth avenue that is there with respect to the carbon trade, carbon instrument in India is called as CCTS. Okay, what is this CCTS is? It allows the various agencies to participate in the carbon credit. Okay, if for example any company is there, okay, out of their own they want to become the green, out of their own they want to become the net zero, or under any law they are being forced to become net zero, then you need to buy the credit, right? Okay, either I can for example green credit program, it will generate the thing. Either I can buy the credit under the green credit program, or separate integrated carbon market also they are creating, under which under the CCTS, carbon credit CCTS scheme, under which I can buy the green credit and become compliant. Okay, so that is only CCTS. Okay, so these are the different instruments that are there. Fine, CCTS, carbon credit trading scheme. So under this, what they are doing, any company has to, they have to meet some regulation regarding this much only ton of CO2 equivalent I have to emit. Then they are not able to do it, means they must be in a position to buy the green credit and then spend the money, get the credit. So for this, CCTS has been developed. So these are the 4 instruments that are there. Please remember it very clearly: REC, PAT, CCTS, and Green Carbon Program. Okay, Green Credit Program, sorry, GCP. Okay, so these are different carbon markets. So you might have seen different types are there: voluntary market, compliance market, India's role. All these data is important. What is CCTS, what is REC, what is PAT, all these things we have seen, so no issue there. Advantages of implementing carbon tax. So yeah, once again, on coal and all we are implementing it already. Carbon cess or something like that is there. Under the European Green Deal, European Union is implementing this carbon tax, right? The people who are domestically manufacturing through the energy intensive process, for them extra tax is there. So European manufactured steel very high costly it has become. In order to prevent India like company to take advantage of it and dump our steel there, they have put the carbon tax, which will make the imported steel also high cost. So it's like that. So they are forced to buy only the renewable energy construction methods. So what are the challenges on carbon taxation? They are saying economic impact, regressive impact. See, we can cry telling that last 50 years, 70 years only we have the development. Developed countries have been without any problem, they did development unhindered for 200 years, 250 years. We can cry, but the climate change or cyclone or whatever, heat wave, cold wave, it is not like it will stop at your political border and then go that side, telling that no, you didn't do the legacy climate emission. Temperature has increased 1.28 degrees Celsius. They won't come and tell to India that no, cyclone won't stop at our gate until this person not responsible for legacy emission. Let me turn and go to developed country. Maybe I'll go to Australia. It's not like that, right? So we can cry all we want, but it's very important that we have to implement it, right? It's a responsibility of every citizen in this country. You can see so much things we can do, right? Every citizen can plant the trees. Every citizen can choose not to litter. You see the garbage heap here. Right? Everywhere people go. This is very prominent among the people who are studied, educated only. I'm not telling about people who didn't go to school or anything, right? Even the people who have the BE degree, they just throw the plastic on the road, right? So it's like that. It's very important that we do it. So way forward, all these things are there. Just go through it. Challenges, carbon leakage. Okay, just go through it. Nothing much here. We've explained everything. Right now, the next thing is we are going to the anti-defection law. Right. So anti-defection, you would have heard. Anti-defection law initially, created in 1985. Right. A person elected in the one-party ticket, after the election, joining the MLA or MP, going to the parliament or state legislative assembly, then what that person do? He changes another party. It's called as defection, right? And if you do like that, the complaint can be given by the original party to the speaker, and speaker can take the action against that person. Okay. Problem is the constitution only says speaker can take action. Within what time he has to take action is not given. That is the biggest problem. And in lot of situations, a person has done the defection but still does not get disqualified because the speaker does not take the decision immediately. Most of the time what happens? Defection happens from the party in opposition to the party in power. And the speaker also is from the party in power. Now why will speaker take action against his own party? So he will keep quiet. So that person, though he has shifted allegiance to a new party, different from the one in which he got elected, still he will happily be in the assembly or in the parliament because speaker won't take action. This is the problem. And over the years, after 1985, we have tried to strengthen this anti-defection law so that such a thing won't happen, but still it is happening. Okay. For example, previously even 1/3 of the people, they move from one party and go to the new party, means that is called as a that 1/3 thing, right? It's called a split, right? They said that the split will never work. It's made illegal. Now at least 2/3 have to go from one party to the new party. It's called as merger. That is allowed. So this is the thing with respect to anti-defection. It has not been able to 100% stop this problem. Okay. And even the thing is that anti-defection is there in the 10th schedule of the constitution, still this problem continuing. And there are a lot of court verdicts. It's there in this article. Just go through it. Which court verdict has the influence or impact on the anti-defection. So just go through it. So added in 1985. Okay, created as a 52nd amendment. It's there in the 10th schedule also. Okay, so just be aware of it. So what are the grounds for disqualification? Voluntary resignation from party membership, voting against party directions without permission, independent members joining a political party, nominated members joining after 6 months. So group defection, split is removed, merger alone is there. Decision authority is the speaker or chairman. Limitation is they take very decision slowly as they please. Okay, no penalty for the parties affecting the defectors. Disqualified members can contest the election again with a different party and win. Delay in decisions by the speaker, discretionary power of speaker, that's a problem. And even in issuing the whips, for example, I am a floor leader of the opposition or floor leader of a party in the assembly. I am telling all party members to vote in this manner. Some person does not vote, then we have to condone it. If not, I can take action against this defection and give the complaint to the speaker. Problem is that this particular message I am conveying to the party members to toe the party line, it's not clear. So lack of transparency in issuing whips. And these are the relevant court cases. Just be aware. Name of the case is important. Know the outcome. Okay, Kihoto Holhan case, what is the outcome? Vishwanathan case, what is the outcome? Ravi Naik case, what is the outcome? Just go through it. It's there. And reforms to the anti-defection law, what has the ARC commission, second ARC commission, what it has said. So some things are there here. Go through it. You can use it for your mains. Okay, so just go through this. So what is the way forward? Time bound decisions, setting a time frame for defections, transparent issuance, independent tribunals. So this was one of the things, right? Instead of speaker, maybe the election commission can take the decision, advise the president, then president can do the disqualification. All these things are considered because ECI is independent. Speaker is supposed to be independent, but he belongs to the party, right? So these are the things. And I think last 2-3 topics are left. So now this with respect to the science and tech, it is specifically with respect to the space, right? So 3 topics left, 3 and I guess 4, right? 4 topics are left. Coming to this article with respect to the space. See, recently in India, lot of space related missions we are promoting. You might have heard of the Venus Orbiter mission, Sukrayan. So read about that. And you might have heard of the NASA ISRO synthetic aperture radar. So NISAR mission, please read about that. Proba 3 satellite, once again read about that. AstroSat, read about that. Axiom 4 space mission, read about that. Gaganyaan mission, read about that. Bharatiya Antariksh station, read about that, right? Next generation launch vehicle, we are doing the research and development, read about that. And recently the reusable launch vehicle tests are ongoing. So the lower atmosphere up to 4 kilometer, that test has been done properly. Now they are going to try it at higher altitudes when it is going to enter into the atmosphere itself, maybe 50-60 kilometers altitude, they are going to test it. Okay, so all these things that I have mentioned, please study it. Chandrayaan 4, very soon it is going to come, please read it. Then there's a LoopX mission. LoopX mission, ISRO na Japan collaboration. JAXA of Japan and ISRO of India collaborating in the LoopX mission. It is with respect to exploring the lunar surface, that is the moon's surface, right? So study about that. So LoopX mission also, please be aware. So NISAR mission already I have said. Next generation satellite launch I have already said. Proba 3 mission for the sun's corona research, please read about that. Next generation launch vehicle, that also you have to read. And lot of space startups are there. Okay, lot of space startups have come in India. Okay, please read about that. For example, there is this thing called as Project 200. It is a prototype given by Bellatrix Aerospace. Okay, and this prototype of Project 200, it's given by Bellatrix Aerospace. It's a prototype of a satellite that can fly at 200 kilometer orbit. So it is even below low Earth orbit. Low Earth orbit around 500 kilometers. Here it's ultra low Earth orbit around 200 kilometers. So read about that. Okay, and various other space startups also, they are creating the docking experiments. Okay, for example, we are going to send the Bharatiya Antriksh Station component in multiple launches, and when you are going to fit it in the space, right, each time the new launch is going to happen, it will go and join with it. Okay, if I'm going to do the human space flight Gaganyaan, first my spaceship has to go dock with the actual space station there, then only the astronaut can transfer from one to the other. So docking is very important. For that also a lot of private startups in India are there, so study about it. So please study these things which I mentioned: Chandrayaan 4, LoopX, all these things, so be aware of it. So Gaganyaan mission, some notes are there. Next generation launch vehicle, some notes are there, go through it. LoopX, once again some notes are there. New missions planned by ISRO, so just go through these things. Venus mission, Shukrayaan, I told you. Okay, low Earth orbit, ultra low Earth orbit. What is the private role in space? So you might be aware 100% FDI is allowed, right, in space. So just be aware. Self-reliance. Okay, now Delhi's air quality, I think we've seen it already, but once again repeatedly it's there in the news, so we are seeing it once again. So CAQM, stubble burning, GRAP, graded response action plan, reasons, all these things. What is the reason why in winters the pollution dome gets created? It's because of temperature inversion and high pressure, and because of the withdrawal of the southwest monsoon, no more wind, air becomes stagnant, it falls down, it envelops into toxic pollutant. So smog happens. Previously fog was there, fog used to be very much enjoyable. Now chemical mixed with the fog becomes smog, it's not enjoyable, it's miserable, right? So these are the problems. All these things we've seen, just go through it. Yes. Now the next topic is with respect to our favorite patriarchy, right? My son's patriarchy is different from mine. So here we are talking about the problem of patriarchy, right? Male authority influencing women's life, and it's having a bad impact on the middle class women, because they have to balance traditional expectation as well as the modern role. Okay, so independence versus societal expectation. So what are the problems? Lower pay, fewer promotions, stereotyping, right? And because the woman has to juggle both the things, there are a lot of data for this, right? Women who are working as well as who are married, they are working for 6 hours in the home for the unpaid work, okay, unpaid domestic work, and then in the office some 10 hours they have to work. So this is not the case for men. For men it was like 10 hours in office, 2 hours in unpaid work, so it was like 4 hours more the women are working in the unpaid work. So that's one thing. So they're already tired, so it causes the health problem. And this feminism is advocating for the workplace equality, okay, and it is promoting them to manage both career as well as the domestic expectation. So here they are promoting that even men should take part in these things. And because women are they, for example, because women are expected they have their duties at home. For example, they have to give birth, right? So as of now there is no technology which alleviates women from giving birth, so they have to take the maternity leave and all. So what happens because of that, the company is not trusting the women with leadership role, because this person will be absent for 2 years, maybe she has 2 children, so 3 years she'll be taking a gap. So that's not good, they feel, the companies, because the person who wants to give it all, make maximum profit for the company, that's what they want. So women, because of this particular problem of patriarchy, where they have to be at home, do the housework, take care of elders, and at the same time they're working, they're not able to give their best at work, so they are not being considered for leadership positions. And there is this beyond a particular level they don't give them the promotion, that's called as glass ceiling, that also affects them. So these are all true things, right? These are all true things that happen. So that is the thing. So liberal feminism is advocating for workplace equality, right? So dual burden of work and domestic responsibilities, so women are getting stressed, their career ambitions are getting reduced because of this, causing a lot of stress to them. Social expectations and gender stereotyping, right? So primary caregiver, they're saying that women should be primary caregiver, so a lot of women don't like that. So that should not be the thing, right? Whoever wants to care, they should be able to do it. So that's the thing. So it's causing them guilt, low confidence, self-worth issues, all these are some problems, right? Society is labeling them, right? Such people who don't give the care, and this is affecting women only, right? Society is not giving that much labeling to the man who behaves like he doesn't care, right? So these are some of the things, so just go through it. Psychological mental health effect, it's causing a lot of problem on the mental health of women, mental health toll. So you might have heard national mental health mission, so probably that can help it. But once again, problem is we are giving only 40 crores to the national mental health mission. So with that money, what mental health we can give? So that's the thing, right? So patriarchal institutions, institutional theory, reporting barriers, right? So all these are issues. So way forward, unbiased hiring and promotion, bias and harassment should be prevented. There should be crutches, flexible hours, all these things for women, right? So yeah, the other part of it, sexual harassment, POSH Act and all, right? So prevention of sexual harassment at workplace, just go through it. Paternity leave, now the thing is that paternity leave, it is still there in the companies, but they give it for 1 week or 2 weeks, right? So that's all. After that, no leave for the male. So this is something that they're saying they should be given the leave and all. That is, the men should be given the leave so that they can share the burden, right? So way forward, mental health support and empowerment. Then you need to role models and media presentation. I think you would have seen the new Jaguar ad, right? What more than media role model creation and media representation, right? So that's the thing. Solar, a game changer in women's empowerment. I guess this is our this is our last topic. So the thing is that with respect to solar, right, there are a lot of advantages. Some case studies are given here in this article. Please study it. Case studies are there, how certain institutions, NGOs and all, they have trained the women in servicing the solar panels, and it is creating huge amount of jobs. So study it. Okay. In India in 2022, solar PV industry provided 4.9 million people jobs. Of this, 40% were women. So it's a very important data that you can write. So solar panel repair, maintenance and training, lot of women are being trained. You might have heard Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, right? Pradhan Mantri Gramin Kaushal Yojana. Under these yojanas, they are being trained, and it helps them access the quality work. Okay, improving the see, that's the thing, right? Mother is there, you're giving her access to money, right? They are earning money and they're spending it on their children, on their family, better schools, better nutrition, right? Better clothes. So the entire family is getting uplifted. So solar is playing this key role, and we are promoting solar. So we have this target, right? 500 gigawatt of renewable by 2030. So of that, major chunk is for solar, right? So both solar on the rooftops as well as solar power plants individually, they are going to need lot of solar workers. So women are getting benefited, right? So they are helping control climate change, at the same time getting the jobs. It's improving their income. So India is getting all round. So this is what is inclusive development. So this has to be promoted. So you have lot of data on how solar is working in women's empowerment. So please copy the data from this. You can use it in your mains. So importance of solar, it's there. Data is important. Please note it down. How it helps the marginalized, how it helps the environment. What are the challenges? Challenges is, very simple. Chinese dumping of these solar panels in our country, right? So instead of manufacturing it ourselves, they are dumping their things here. So China shock 2.0. So read about it. So we need to prevent that from happening. We need to become indigenous in solar panel manufacturing. We need to secure strategic materials for this. For example, silica, palladium, right? All these things which go into solar, germanium, all these things we need to secure the supply chain. So we are having the agreements, right? With Australia, we are having the other agreements also, right? For the supply chain of these important materials, raw materials for solar. So these things we have to do. We need to train more people. We need to deploy solar at a greater scale, greater speed. Okay, we need to give even PLI for solar manufacturing, high efficiency solar PVs. That's also there. So that also will help. So some of the things we are doing, but challenges still exist. You can mention these challenges. Way forward, government incentive subsidies. So PLI is there, Kusum is there, Urja Suraksha Evam This thing, Muft Bijli Yojana is there. So all these things. Then R&D, we need to promote this. We have to do. This is very important. R&D we need to do, right? So we need to promote the research in solar. Infrastructure development for the grids. So this is what we are doing, right? We already saw that green. What was that? Previously we saw, right? Green grid scheme, something like that. We saw it in the Germany slide, right? Green grid scheme. So that thing. Public awareness and campaigns, that's important. Collaboration with private sector, so this will drive in, innovation. The government can't create the company on its own, so private we need to do, right? So these are all some of the things. For more information, right, these slides will be given to you. For more information you can always comment on our video, and this will be a regular occurrence. So next month also we will be having newspaper analysis of the month as well as editorial analysis of the month. So the links of all these articles and all is there. You can go through it, make notes for it. You can make notes from these slides also. Okay. Once again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your cooperation. Right. It's been a pleasure talking to you through this platform. Right. Thank you. We'll meet in the next class. Thank you. ஸ்டூடெண்ட் சரி ஓகே பார்த்து இது ஸ்டாப் பண்ணணும்ல